Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com, is brought to you by Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping, and by RockAuto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
This is Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. We are in our Garage Ed segment, and this week it's all about condensers. What is a condenser? Where is it? Why do we even have one? Well, let's start with our graphic and see if we can figure it out.
Yeah, you know, in our graphic, we have to go all the way back through the system. You remember the evaporator was located inside the vehicle, and what happened, the blower motor went over it, and the actual refrigerant jumped on that, took a ride over to the compressor, and what the compressor did, it changed those pressures, and when it changed those pressures, it increased temperature immensely. It's the hottest part of the system, coming out of the compressor, going over to the condenser. For that reason, we have it super, super hot, and the outside air is not so hot, so heat jumps from surface to heat to less heat. Bam, it jumps off and it goes to the outside air. But Josh, you got some tips when it comes to the condenser.
Right, our AC system, what we have are restrictions in there, the orifice tube and TXV, so we can drop pressure so we can get it cold. Well, if you have a restriction in your condenser, it's going to do the same thing, but it's not by design. It's going to mess up your efficiency. So what you can do is you can run your hand across the condenser. If you feel any cold spots, you know you have a restriction in that spot. Something else that you can do, if you have some external fins, this one doesn't have it, but you have external fins on your condenser, and you might have a kid who, like I was, and I started putting my initials in there, it messes up your heat transfer to the outside air. You can get a comb and you can go over those fins and try to straighten them back out.
Well, it's a good thing your name wasn't Cornelius, or you would have had no AC.
That's right.
What about the inlet and outlet? Does that temperature make a difference?
It does. So what you can do is you can also take a pyrometer, check the inlet and outlet coming in. It's going to be hot. It gives off some heat to the outside air. Shoot it. It's going to be less hot. That's one way to tell.
That's for sure. And we talked about convection. That's actually speeding up the process of changing those states. Remember the condenser and the mirror analogy? You take a shower and you get all this gas on your mirror, and then it starts to cool down, it turns into a liquid. Well, that's what's happening. Well, if you put a fan on there, it's going to happen a lot more efficiently. So you may have two types of fans. You can have an electric coolant fan that looks like this. It's driven electrically, obviously, or you can have one that's a mechanical fan. This one's actually driven here with a viscous clutch. It's a silicone clutch, and it drives and it actually pulls air through there, so you can speed up convection and you speed up that process. Speaking of speeding things up, Dave's wrapping this thing up. Let's check in with him.
Johnny, we've got the air cleaner changed and the exhaust system changed, and that changes the airflow in and out of the engine. Of course, with an internal combustion engine, you've got fuel, you need air, and you need a spark. If you're changing the airflow, you need to change the fuel flow as well. That means we need to adjust the tune on this bike.
Absolutely, and DynoJet, they actually sent over a program. You can hook it up to your laptop. This is cool. They work great with Reinhardt Racing because we could select the exhaust. We went ahead and selected the air cleaner and then what the bike was, and bam, we had the tune in there. But one step further, we actually have learning capabilities. So we'll fine tune it, drive it, and make sure it's in good shape so the bike's not lean.
What happens when an engine leans out?
Well, when an engine's lean, it's dangerous, man. You burn pistons, it's not a good situation. So you might want to make sure it self-tunes. Well, Bonte, this is your deal, buddy. So it's your bike, so you get the honors. I mean, we put a lot of work into it. Let's hear what it sounds like.
I love it.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it sounds phenomenal. I love it, but I love you even more. So you got to ride safe. You guys got to put a helmet on, your gear. Go out there. You got the handlebars, air cleaner, exhaust. You are going to be rolling, my boy.
Well, we've got to get rolling because that's the end of this episode of Tech Garage, but we're going to do it once again next week. In the meantime, you can find us on social media, John.
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever there's automotive repairs going on, we will be there. We will be there. And we'll also be here next week. And please join us for more Tech Garage, brought to you by RockAuto.com. Wow, this thing sounds great. Love it.
We could not do Tech Garage without production assistance from Chipola College in Marianna, Florida. Chipola was founded in 1947, and it was recently ranked among the top 3 community colleges in the United States.